Welcome to Four Good Stories, where we each talk about four good stories that we found in the news headlines this week to bring a little positivity to your weekend. My name is Addison.
And I'm Corinne. For Good Stories is proudly brought to you by Hope for Good, a free subscription service supporting families of children with cancer and other critical illnesses through monthly care packages filled with toys and other care items catered to the children's likings.
We're having a great week, and we've got tons of really great stories to reflect how amazing this week has been for us. So go ahead and dive into my first story. And when I was writing this story, it made me cry. So we'll see if we can get through that
Goody.
a little
All right.
better this time.
I'll prepare myself.
At school pickup, Cassandra Ritter's 12-year-old son, Brody, wasn't his cheerful self. Trying to keep the mood light, Ritter asked Brody, a sixth grader in Westminster, Colorado, about his yearbook. Earlier that day, Ritter had received an email stating that students would be bringing yearbooks home. Brody's eyes filled with tears. He said that he'd asked the kids in his class if they would sign his yearbook, and some flat out said no. Ritter revealed a couple of his classmates jotted down their names, but there were no messages. There was nothing to represent how smart, funny, and awesome of a kid he is. Brody handed his mom the yearbook so that she could take a look. What Ritter saw made her heart sink. He'd written a note to himself. It read, "I hope you make some more friends," and he signed his own name. I know. Ritter said that Brody, who loves chess, fencing, and dinosaurs, sits alone at lunch and plays by himself at recess. She said Brody's peers don't really understand his interest. She reached her breaking point. That evening, she posted on the school's Facebook page for parents and said, "My poor son, it doesn't seem like things are getting any better. 2 teachers and a total of 2 students wrote in his yearbook, despite Brody asking all kinds of kids to sign it." Ritter wrote, "So Brody took it upon himself to write himself. My heart shattered. Teach your kids kindness." She shares, "I honestly didn't think much would come out of it. The next day, she received a text from Brody, her son. He said, 'Facebook this.' He wrote alongside a picture of a yearbook filled with messages and signatures. He had messages from 8th graders and even all the way up to 11th graders. Brody's exact words to his mother were, 'This is the best day ever.' Some kids even put their phones for Brody to contact them." It said, "These are just some of the things that the older kids wrote in his yearbook. Hey, dude, you're freaking awesome. Stay that way. Brody, you are the kindest little kid. You are so loved. Don't listen to the kids that tell you any different. Brody, I hope you have an amazing summer. You're worth it, and you matter. And hey, Brody, never change. Never put your head down." Brody's mom said the kids who had previously refused to write in Brody's yearbook were suddenly lining up to sign. Brody can't stop smiling, and he's already talking about how excited he is for 7th grade. He's on cloud 9, his mom said. Isn't that such a good story?
That's such a cute story.
You can always count on, because especially when you're in like middle school, the older kids are like these cool mythical creatures.
So cool. Yeah.
And I bet he was so excited. The pictures of the yearbook, and we'll put some in, it's just like filled. Like these kids couldn't find any extra space. And he'll be able to look back on that forever because, you know, you keep your yearbooks forever.
He's going to be the coolest kid in school for 7th grade.
I love it.
Good for Brody. Okay, my next story is about a senior living community. A group of residents in their 80s and 90s have formed a cooking club called the Rolling Scones. And every week they gather in the kitchen not just to cook, but to reconnect with a part of themselves. For many of them, cooking was once a daily ritual, something tied to family, identity, and independence. But over time, those opportunities faded. This club is bringing that back. They chop vegetables, share recipes, and adapt meals to their abilities, proving that creativity doesn't retire. And it's not just about the food, it's about the purpose. It's about community. It's about the simple joy of saying, "I made this." In a stage of life where so much can feel limited, the Rolling Scones are a reminder that passion and connection can always find a way.
I love that because I love cooking. Like,
Yeah.
cooking is I love being able to cook, like, meals for people that are in need or people that have just had babies, or, like, that's my favorite thing. And if I wasn't doing this job, my dream would be to get to cook for people in need.
And I bet they're, like, sharing their passed down family recipes with each other. And that's...
My next story is short, but I thought it was one that would be really cool to share that I saw when I was just scrolling through the YouTube shorts.
Oh, boy.
It says, after a bunch of AI videos went viral of dogs choosing their owners at faked adoption events, a New York nonprofit had an idea to turn this into something that brought joy to a lot of families. Sorry about that. The Animal Care Centers of NYC host a real-life Love at First Wag adoption event where dogs select their owners inspired by these viral AI videos. At this event, 10 potential adopters sit in a room and they let 10 of these doggies out and they get to go and like determine who they want to be their owners. And these dogs get to choose their new families, and this creates real heartwarming adoptions and not the fake ones that you see in the AI videos. These and similar events are designed to create authentic emotional bonds between dogs and humans, combating the fake nature of these AI-generated videos on social media. Next time you see one of these videos that are too good to be true, you can usually tell when they're these BS AI events.
Yeah.
Make sure you take the opportunity to go support real-life animals trying to find their loving forever homes.
When you adopted Bunny, did it feel like that? Like she chose you?
Absolutely, because even when I think back, we didn't want a dog. I don't even know why we were at the shelter. But I was like, if we ever got a dog, it would be this one. And then 3 days later,
There she is.
we had a dog. But I loved, we took her, they were like, oh, you can take her outside. And we took her outside, and for a dog that's been in like a cage all day, it was crazy because she just ran up and sat in our laps.
Aww.
She didn't want to like run around. She wanted to sit on top of me. I was like, she's
And
coming
nothing
home
has
with me. Yep,
changed?
nope. That's where she is all the time now.
Okay, for my next story, I wouldn't feel authentic if I didn't talk about this. So I'm going to talk about, it was actually last week at the iHeart Radio Awards. I had to talk about my queen, Miss Taylor Swift. So, if there was ever a night that confirmed Taylor Swift is still the absolute top of the music industry, it was the 2026 iHeartRadio Music Awards. Swift didn't just win, she dominated. She took home 7 awards in one night, including Artist of the Year, Album of the Year, and Best Pop Album for Life of a Showgirl, plus Best Music Video and major song categories for her hit The Fate of Ophelia. That massive haul didn't just make headlines, it added to her already record-breaking total, pushing her to over 40 iHeartRadio Music Award wins, making her the most awarded artist in the show's history. During one of her acceptance speeches, Swift reflected on her early days as a songwriter, talking about spending thousands of hours practicing, failing, and improving, completely in private. She warned that what you feed the internet, it can try to kill you. Your dreams, urging artists to grow away from constant online feedback. She also encouraged artists and people to nurture your hobby and give themselves space to learn without pressure, something she says was crucial to her own success. And in a more personal moment, Swift thanked her fans for giving her the confidence and joy that shaped her latest album, calling it a project built on feeling happy, confident, and free. She even gave a shout out to her fiancé, Travis Kelce, saying he's brought that same positive energy into her life. Miss Taylor.
We are big Swifties, but we're
Yes.
also big fans of confident and joyful women.
Yeah.
So, an inspiring message that she was able to share with all of her many little girly fans.
Yeah. And even when she was like saying messages to artists, I feel like regular people like you and me could also reflect on it and take her advice.
To just do what you love without caring about what anyone says about it and what it's going to make you look like, quite like we did with this podcast.
Yep.
I came across a story about a 26-year-old woman named Renali, and it really stuck with me.
Mm-hmm.
She is young, newly engaged. She's 26. She's living her life. And like most people her age, cancer was nowhere on her radar because she's young.
Mm-hmm.
But for months, she kept dealing with pain and exhaustion, just kind of pushing through it, assuming it was nothing serious, until one day she heard the words, "No one expects at 26, you have cancer." At first, she didn't even believe it. Her first instinct was to tell a doctor, no, that's not it.
Yeah.
But it was real, and not just early stage. It had already spread from her colon to her spine. The good part is, Instead of going through the usual intense treatments like chemotherapy and radiation, her doctors offered her something completely new, an immunotherapy treatment that basically helps your own immune system fight the cancer. And incredibly, it worked wonders for her. After a few months of treatment, her cancer was gone, but what I found super cool was she was able to do amazing things during her treatment. She even ran a 5K. If you know anything, or if you've had any family members, or if you yourself has had an experience with cancer, you know that treatment is sometimes just as horrendous as the cancer itself. It can have so many side effects. It just makes you overall very weak. You don't have a lot of appetite. So this breakthrough that we are able to find ways to battle the cancer, where you're able to feel better throughout the treatment. As she kept going, she started feeling better and better, was able to do her 5Ks and go to work and live her life. I just think that's awesome.
Yeah.
Because I have seen a lot of people go through that treatment, and it does suck. So this breakthrough will be life-changing to so many patients fighting cancer diagnosis from now on. Today, she's cancer-free, she's traveling, she's planning her wedding, and getting her life back, something she never thought possible after that initial diagnosis.
Wow. My next story is about Shay Taylor Allen's story, and it begins in a hospital room where she was born. Years later, she came back, not as a doctor, but as a janitor. She spent her days cleaning rooms and working behind the scenes, watching doctors and nurses care for patients. And somewhere along the way, that environment sparked something bigger. She wanted to become a doctor. It wasn't easy. It took years of school, long nights, and determination. But she kept going. And eventually, she returned to that same hospital once again. Only this time, everything has changed. Shay Taylor Allen was accepted into the Yale School of Business and walked through those doors not with a cleaning cart, but actually as a physician. In the same place where her life began and where she once worked quietly in the background, she's now helping save lives as a doctor.
Gosh, why does that one make me emotional? That's just such a cool story.
I know. You never know where your life's going to go, and she fought for that.
That's awesome. This is another one that my mom sent me, big supporter of the podcast. And it's something that I had kind of paid attention to before these TikToks go super viral. But I never knew quite the story behind it. So, a woman fascinated by how mental health impacts our ability to care for our spaces took her interest to the next level. Brogan, known as Not the Worst Cleaner on TikTok, has a background in psychology and has long been interested in the connection between cleaning and mental health. And while she's not a professional cleaner, she's gotten her hands dirty for a good cause that makes a real impact on those she services. As her following grew on Clean Talk, so did the outpouring of people reaching out to Brogan with stories about how they were in over their heads. She said, "I was getting hundreds and hundreds of emails every week from people begging me for help, living in hoarder-like situations due to poor mental health. I decided I was going to start cleaning for free to help people who were seriously struggling. I started with a local mom in my area who had kids the same age as mine, and I spent 2 12-hour days in 40 industrial-sized garbage bags cleaning out her home. Later that night, I was sent a video of her kids crying with joy over their clean home. That was the light bulb moment for me. 2 days of my time changed the course of their life. I haven't stopped doing free cleaning since. It's been 2 years now." And while the idea was initially to help others struggling with their mental health, Brogan can't deny meeting these people and helping them through dire situations has also touched her deeply. "Honestly, the people that I have cleaned for have been some of the most kind-hearted, caring folk that I have ever had the pleasure of meeting. At the same time, there have been cases that have left me heartbroken," she acknowledges. "There were many instances where I questioned if I could continue with my free cleanings. But there were also the same instances that gave me the push to keep going because people desperately needed this help. After everything I've seen in the last 2 years of doing these free cleanings, I wish everyone would check in on their family, friends, and neighbors more often." Building a community on TikTok has helped Brogan reach others about both cleaning and mental health, the intersection of which matters to her. "My background in psychology is honestly the basis of my content," she shares. "Technically, I am a cleaning content creator, but the core base of my message will always stem from mental health. I do teach your regular cleaning tips, tricks, and hacks, but I also share so much knowledge, techniques, and methods for people struggling with their mental health as well as their relationship with cleaning. Like I said, I've seen these videos before, and I always just have so many questions. Like, oh my gosh, how can they do that? And how do people get in these situations? So being able to read about her background of, she talks about how there's such this interesting connection between mental health and the way the brain works, and this connection with being able to keep your space clean, but also the connection of how clean spaces can significantly help your mental health. I just thought it was really awesome to kind of see the why behind those videos that I see all the time.
Someone in my family was a hoarder, and I remember when I was younger, me, my mom, and a bunch of other people from our family went and we helped her clean her house. And oh my gosh, the light that came back into her eyes once the house was clean, and she was just crying. And I can't imagine doing that for so many people like she does.
Just like the satisfaction of like knowing that there's one more family out there every time you complete a clean that's living a healthier, more stable life. That would be so fun.
Yeah.
But I know the cleans are hard. I've seen them on TikTok, and I'm like, wow.
I don't know if I've seen
She's
her, but
girl.
I've seen videos like that. And, man. Okay, my last story is about an 8-year-old boy named Royce who had spent a long time fighting cancer and had finally reached the moment his family had been waiting for, the end of his treatment. After months of hospital visits, difficult days, and moments filled with uncertainty, he was finally well enough to ring that bell. But what happened next wasn't quite all. As he stepped into the hallway, and instead of just walking calmly or holding back his emotions, he started to dance. Down the hallway, he moved with excitement, spinning and stepping and celebrating in a way only a child could. The hallway, once associated with long days of treatment and worry, suddenly became something else. It became a place of joy. Nurses and staff who seen him through his hardest moments stopped to watch, smiling as the energy in the space shifted from struggle to celebration. For his family, it wasn't just a dance. Oh my God. For his family, it wasn't just a dance. It was everything he had endured expressed in a single joyful moment. All the fear, all the pain, all the waiting, lifted, even if just for a few minutes, by happiness. In that small stretch of a hospital hallway, an ordinary day became unforgettable. An 8-year-old boy who had fought for his health didn't just finish treatment, he reclaimed his childhood. Ugh. It just makes me think of all our kids.
Yeah. We get stories all the time from families that are in the thick of it. They're in the peak of these diagnoses, and this is just what we wish for all of these kids. Is just these joyful moments. And while we get to share our gifts and toys and books and puzzles with all these kids to bring these small highlights, our ultimate desire is for every kid to get their moment and to be free from these diseases and things that impact their lives as just normal kids.
In the video, we'll put pictures up, but him and his mom kind of had a moment where they like did a little handshake and dance together. And I just like imagine our kids with their mom or dad opening our gifts, and they can do the games or do the puzzles, do whatever together, and bring happiness to both of them, all the family. So I really like that story.
I do like that story. That's a great one to end on.
Yeah.
Finally, the best thing is that through our program, Hope for Good, that we were just talking about, over 400 kids receive a free care package every month to spread a bit of love to families going through things just like the little boy we were talking about. To learn more or to donate, visit our website at forgoodcommunity.org/hopeforgood. We now also have an Amazon wish list, and we put on here specific items that kids are asking for. So if you'd like to check that out, we have it linked below, or we have it linked on our Facebook.
Those were this week's 4 good things. Until next time, keep looking for the good, and if you find any, feel free to share any good stories with us at addison@forgoodcommunity.org for us to share on the podcast.
And make sure you're subscribed. It really helps us out. And drop a comment if there's anything good that has happened to you this week.
Make sure you join us again next week to see how the world gets better 1 week at a time.
4 good stories, because the world has more good than we think.